WrestleMania 42! WrestleMania 42, Night 1, Saturday Night 1 is in the books. And this is the icon with something different for you because everybody on the internet is completely bitching and crashing out. And the amount of negativity is like extremely overwhelming. But this is different because I'm in the minority here of one of the few people who didn't mind the show. Did I think it was the greatest show of all time? No, it wasn't the greatest show of all time. Me personally, the card for Night 2 looks better on paper than Night 1. But after watching Night 1, it's like I wasn't upset. People are like in in emotional like rages over certain, and I'm like, it's not that serious at the end of the day. And to say it was a bad show, if you said it was like, if you said that the show wasn't the most spectacular show of all time, I could understand that because it wasn't like, again, it wasn't the greatest show of all time. But to be like, oh, the show was horrible and it was terrible, that just means there was probably something specifically on the show that you wanted to see happen that didn't happen, and now you're just taking out your frustrations because the show wasn't as bad as everybody's trying to make it seem on the internet. But it's the icon here with a WrestleMania Night 1 review for you. And before we get started, hit that notification bell, like it or subscribe. Check out my other reviews for other forms of wrestling and entertainment. And let's get started as we do this because John Cena came out to host and he got his hair done, which he should because he's a Hollywood star now. So he can't be out there, like with bald spots looking crazy. He announced the show. He's like, welcome to WrestleMania. He's actually starting to look like Vince McMahon a little bit. But then when he said, welcome to WrestleMania, we got the first match of the night, which was the 6-man tag between Logan Paul, the Vision, Logan Paul, Austin Theory, and I Show Speed versus LA Knight and the Usos. And I say this again, the plan from the beginning was supposed to be the Usos versus the Vision, like in a straight up 2-on-2 for the tag team championships. Because Bronson Reed and Braun Breaker got those injuries, LA Knight was not going to be on WrestleMania. So they did the tag team match on Raw. They got the belts off of the Usos and put them on the Vision, which now brought in the 6-man tag action. And everybody's upset over I Show Speed. But I'm like, without I Show Speed, LA Knight wouldn't have gotten on the show. So it was really about putting LA Knight on the show. Am I a huge fan of like celebrity involvement? Not really. It depends on the celebrity and it depends on what their involvement is. I'm not a fan of like flooding the market with celebrities. But with that being said, the kid actually didn't do that bad. He's a very athletic kid. It's unfortunate that now because he put on a decent showing, he's going to end up in WWE 2K27. But the kid didn't do that bad. I feel like Logan Paul and Austin Theory basically used him to take all the hits. They used him to be the fall guy so he can like take all the punishment, but he didn't do a bad job, and it got LA Knight on the show. But there was some friction because like Speed was, first of all, he's still cursed, and he wasn't even really trying to be in the match anyway. Like he was trying to get out of it for the longest, but Paul and Theory was kind of like making him do it. But then there was a moment where like things got mixed up. He bumped into Logan Paul. Logan Paul, like caught the BFT, I believe, and then LA Knight pinned Logan Paul, and then, the heels lost the match, which was surprising because I thought that I thought they were going to win that shit. And then after that, Logan Paul got upset, and he basically ran up on I Show Speed, and he was like, oh, you cost us the match. And I was like, I thought y'all were friends. So, like, he actually punched him. He hit him. Now, see, and this is another thing, and somebody should have told him this. If like the way they sell Logan Paul's punch, they sell it like it's a knockout blow. Like because he has like the metal reconstruction in his hand, they sell it as though like the Lex Luger thing with the elbow. Like when he hits you with it, like you get dropped, like it puts you out. When he hit I Show Speed with him, I Show Speed was holding his face, but he was still conscious. And I'm like, you're not really supposed to be conscious like when he hits you with that punch. But then the Usos and LA Knight, they actually came to I Show Speed's rescue. They beat up the heels. They put Logan Paul on the table, and Speed came off the top rope and did a crossbody onto the announce table onto Logan Paul. I hope we don't get I Show Speed versus Logan Paul. But for an opening match of WrestleMania, I didn't mind it. You know what I'm saying? We were supposed to get a tag match, or we were supposed to get a 2-on-2 tag match. We got a 6-man tag instead. The accomplishments that they wanted to accomplish, which was the tag belts getting put on the Vision, we already accomplished that. So if having I Show Speed gets LA Knight on the show, I was fine with that too. It was a decent opening match. I had no complaints. And then we move on to the next one. So the second match, it was Jacob Fatu versus Drew McIntyre. And see, although I was looking forward to this match because I do like both parties, I wasn't thrilled about the garbage aspect of it because once I found out it was going to be like a no sanction street fight, I'm at the point now in wrestling where I'm tired of like hardcore matches. Like I'm tired of seeing tables every single match, like every 13 seconds. That's part of the reason why like I don't really enjoy AEW, because in AEW, I swear like everybody's doing like in AEW, like you got to jump off the roof through a burning car. Like it's just like sometimes it's just like there are moments where I'm like, can y'all just have a normal match? And for this, it was, and then when you do the hardcore matches, it's the exact same shit in the exact same formula. Like nobody does anything different. So to this, I was just kind of like, well, like I said, I'm interested in both guys, but I wish that the weapons and shit wasn't involved. And then they had a table because there's always going to be a table. And then Jacob Fatu did the moonsault onto the table, and then he actually pinned Drew McIntyre. Drew McIntyre had a blood feud with CM Punk, which got him kicked off of Raw, which is how he ended up on SmackDown. And now that him and Jacob Fatu, I guess, finally settled their differences, it's like, what does Drew do from here? Does he take time off again? But Jacob Fatu, like he won. He was on the post show. Like repping for the culture. He had a good entrance too, because like in his entrance, like he did have the traditional attire. Like he did have like like the like the ulafalas and the dancers and everything. So that was actually cool. Like his entrance was pretty cool. So that's it. But good win for Jacob Fatu, and then we're moving on because now the free hour is over. And it's time for the portion of WrestleMania that you have to pay for. And the first match for that was the women's fatal four-way. It was Lyra and Bayley, Alexa and Charlotte, the champions Nia Jax and Lash Legend. And then the part, and I knew something was up because I'm like, why are the champs not coming out last? And my whole thing is, if the champs weren't going to come out last, they should have came out first. Lash Legend and Nia Jax, they basically came out in all white, dressed like Demolition. I thought that was actually really cool. Bayley and Lyra looked like cheerleaders for the Orlando Magic, and I didn't really care about what Charlotte and Alexa were doing. But and to the surprise of no one, and the internet like spoils a lot of shit. So they basically spoiled that Paige had re-signed with the company, and everybody basically knew at that point Nikki wasn't going to get cleared to wrestle. So a returning Paige ended up being Nikki Bella's replacement to team with Brie for the women's tag titles. And lo and behold, they won the women's tag team titles. So it makes me wonder, was the Bella Twins winning always going to be the plan? Was the Bella Twins becoming tag team champions? Was that always the original plan, or did they decide to go in that route when Paige came back? I'm not sure about that. A lot of people were like, in an uproar because they were like, Lash and Nia Jax should have kept that title. First of all, y'all didn't even like Nia Jax. y'all were talking shit about Nia Jax on the internet this whole time. And then now it's like, yeah, mad that she lost the belt. And the thing about it is, obviously they're going to get the belts back because the whole point, it's supposed to be Brie and Nikki. Like, they're the tag team. Like, Paige and Brie aren't a tag team. So either at some point, Paige is going to relinquish the belt to Nikki Bella when she's 100% cleared, or Nikki's going to turn on Paige at some point and be like, bitch, you stole my spot. So Lash and Nia are going to get the belts back at some point. Like, that's, and then my whole thing is, to an extent, people should be glad that they lost the women's tag team championships, because Lash Legend should be a singles wrestler anyway. Like, Lash shouldn't even be in a tag team. She's just in the tag team to give her something to do, but she should branch off into the singles market. So I didn't have a problem with it. I don't understand the rage for Paige. Like, I don't understand the uproar. I had no problem with them winning. It's the women's tag titles. They don't really take that shit 100% seriously, and they just pass it around to people that don't have anything else to do because they don't have actual tag teams in the women's division. The only actual real tag team in the women's division is the Bella Twins. Like, there's no real tag teams. So Paige, and that's it. And then we got a shock moment of the night, like a return. We got, although it was spoiled, we got a return of Paige. And, I would like to, I'm at, because Paige was the original Rhea Ripley. For all the people that's like, oh my God, Rhea Ripley, that was Paige. Like, Paige was the original Rhea Ripley. Now we got two pale, dark-haired goth girls, like, on the brand. And I would actually like to see a match between Rhea Ripley and Paige at some point. So I was fine with it. Like, and I was happy for Brie. I was happy for Brie because I remember there was a point where they let Nikki back and they weren't trying to like rehire Brie, I guess because Daniel Bryan worked for AEW. So I was happy for Brie and I was happy for Paige. I mean, I didn't really care too much about Nikki Bella, but like I said, kudos to them. Lash Legend will be fine. Like, Lash will be back strong. So that was that, and we're moving on to the next match. Then we had AJ Lee versus Becky Lynch for the Women's Intercontinental Championship. And AJ Lee had the sweetest, most adorable entrance of all time in WrestleMania. You know, I remember when Bianca came out with all the cheerleader girls and the dancers and everything, but AJ basically came out with a bunch of little girls dressed like her, and they all went skipping to the ring. And I was like, that's fucking cute. The funny thing is, there was a moment where all the little girls were on the stage. AJ started skipping down the ramp, and then one girl just started following her, and none of the other girls started moving. And I was like, wait, were they supposed to follow AJ, or did that one girl just go into business for herself? Was like, fuck that, we taking this moment. But then all the girls followed her. They all skipped around the, and that was nice. And I was like, if y'all beat AJ Lee now, like, that's fucked up. Becky Lynch actually the band that does Becky Lynch's intro music, they were there to perform the entrance live. The lead singer did fumble a little bit at times, but it was actually because I like that. I like when we get the live entrances at WrestleMania, so that was cool to see. So this felt like WrestleMania, you know, like Paige coming back, AJ with her entrance, like the entrances made it feel like WrestleMania, and I definitely enjoy that, and I like to see those things like continue, you know, in WrestleMania events. I felt like y'all should have saved the AJ Lee title win for WrestleMania, but because you did it at Elimination Chamber, I was like, that probably means Becky's going to get the belt back. And it's not that I have a problem with Becky getting the belt back, but Becky Lynch is literally has a chokehold on that Intercontinental Championship. But I was also hoping that AJ got to keep the belt because I wanted to see her defend that belt against other people, like an Ivy Nile, you know, like a Lyra Valkyria, you know, like Bailey, you know, Maxine Dupree. Like I wanted to see AJ Lee interact with other people. And we're not going to get that now because, you know, Becky Lynch, you know, like once again reclaim the title, and there's way too many heels like on, you know, like on this program. They did do an interview with AJ. She kind of made it seem like she was leaving, but not leaving. You know, she just said that she had to go home, think about things, and see what she wants to do. So I don't know. I mean, she signed a part-time contract, so she ain't gonna be there every day anyway. But I mean, she'll be back to do something. So I'm not really worried about that. But you know, she did beat Becky like 5 times. You know, so Becky got her win back. You know, it was Jessica Carr got involved, and they need to finally do something with Jessica Carr and Becky Lynch. And the thing about the match that actually did annoy me, the one thing that I didn't like about the match, AJ went to pin. First of all, Becky was cheating. She took the turnbuckle pad off, and then she was trying to cheat all over the place. Her and Jessica Carr exchanged words, and then there was a moment where Becky Lynch actually got up and pushed Jessica Carr, and I was like, why is she not disqualified? The moment Becky Lynch put her hands on the referee and pushed the referee, especially because the two of them had, like, I don't want to hear about like, oh, referees discretion because we don't want the match, that like you just pushed the referee. I'm like, granted, she pushed her back, and that's how you could tell Jessica Carr got too emotionally involved into it, because as a referee, you're not supposed to react that way. You're supposed to disqualify the opponent and award AJ Lee the victory. So I feel like AJ Lee got screwed, if I'm being honest with you. Becky pulled Jessica Carr in front of her at one point. She took a splash from AJ Lee, and then when the referee had her back, when Jessica Carr had her back turned, Becky hit AJ in the face with the steel. So I'm just like, this bitch cheated anyway. So you should have just disqualified her, but she didn't disqualify her. Adam Pearce and, you know, Nick Aldis need to reprimand Jessica Carr for getting too emotionally involved into the situation. Now Becky Lynch is once again the Women's Intercontinental Champion, and we'll see how that progresses as we proceed. Seth Rollins and Gunther followed that match because I guess Becky and Seth weren't trying to stick around all night, so they had their matches right after each other so they get the fuck out of Dodge quickly. Somebody on Threads, on social media, a person on Threads, complained about the Seth Rollins Gunther match, saying that they didn't like it because it was boring. And my whole thing is, you watch wrestling, you say you're a fan of wrestling, you've probably paid for this pay-per-view, which showcases pro wrestling, and you're on the internet complaining about how you don't like the wrestling. Yeah. Like, there's so you watch wrestling, but you don't like wrestling. I don't understand that. If you're a person who doesn't like Gunther, I feel like you've only been watching wrestling for like the last 5 years, And to you, professional wrestling is people jumping off of the Empire State Building through an ice fireball made out of like gasoline thumbtacks. Like you're the type of person that likes this indie garbage bullshit and you think that's what professional wrestling is. Seth Rollins is a fucking wrestler. Gunther is a wrestler. Gunther is like the ultimate heel. If you don't like wrestling, then you need to pick a new like you need to stick to AEW and just watch like, you know, over the top rope, they're like over accelerated like garbage matches. Like, yeah, we can have our fun matches, we can have our Danhausens, we can have our hardcore stuff from time to time, but you also have to have fucking wrestling. Like you have to have two guys that just get in the ring. There's no bullshit, there's no extra stuff, there's no tables, there's no managers, there's nothing about it. It's just two guys mano a mano putting boots to asses, fist to skin to see who's the best in the ring. I don't understand how you can feel like that's boring. But during this match, and I knew Gunther was going to win because because originally the plan was supposed to be Seth Rollins versus Braun Breaker, and Braun Breaker went out with the hernia surgery. Once I said, well, if they do the WrestleMania match, Seth Rollins is most likely going to beat him. But once they said it was going to be Seth Rollins versus Gunther, I said, oh, nah, Gunther not losing that shit, because if Gunther's supposed to be the career killer, you can't have him lose to Seth Rollins at WrestleMania. Like that doesn't make sense. And then during the match, when Seth Rollins, I believe he gave Gunther a stomp onto the announce table, Braun Breaker actually showed up. So I guess he was healed, but not in time for WrestleMania. And they were just like, fuck it, we'll just save this match for later. My man ran down the ring. He speared the shit out of him into that barricade. He speared, and he did it at an angle too, which made it like kudos to him for getting as much of it as he did, because that was a weird angle where he hit that spear. And because he hit that spear, you know, Gunther was able to get back in the ring. He choked Seth Rollins out, and then Gunther reigned supreme as he should. And then when Seth Rollins got up on his feet and tried to walk up the aisle to get to the back, Braun Breaker ran down the aisle and speared him again. And the fans, y'all ain't shit for that because y'all chanted one more time. So Gunther did the damn thing. He defeated Seth Rollins. You know, he is the ring general. You know, like he's the greatest wrestler of all time. I miss when he used to put the hands behind his back. He got to bring that back. And that's it. And the beef between the Vision and Seth Rollins continues. So we'll see where that goes, and we'll see what they have in store for Gunther on Monday Night Raw. Liv Morgan and Stephanie Valkyrie were next, and for some weird reason, the internet was pissed off that Liv Morgan won the championship. Because Liv Morgan put out that video, I knew that was either going to be her new theme song or she was going to perform that shit at Mania. She performed that shit at Mania. Roxanne showed up to interfere with all the cheeks out. Raquel Rodriguez showed up. They cheated their asses off, and then Liv ended up hitting the Oblivion, and she beat Stephanie Valkyrie 1, 2, 3. And see, and my whole thing is, I don't understand why everybody's like shocked about this. People are in a legitimate uproar. They're just like, oh my God, Liv Morgan won. Like, that's bullshit. So, was it not obvious that Liv Morgan was going to win the championship? Nobody complained prior to WrestleMania, the build up to WrestleMania. Nobody complained about Liv Morgan and Stephanie Valkyrie. People weren't online like, oh, Stephanie better win stuff. Nobody really gave a shit. And then when Liv won, everybody was like in an uproar. I'm like, I thought her winning was like the most obvious thing of all time. You know, hopefully now, because Rhea Ripley gonna lose tomorrow because she's not gonna beat Jade Cargill. So hopefully after Rhea loses, Rhea goes back to Raw, and then her and Liv can rekindle like their thing. Bring Stephanie Valkyrie to SmackDown because they need more baby faces on SmackDown. Like I'm down for Stephanie Valkyrie on SmackDown. But Liv Morgan won the match. Like Dirty Dom showed up. The Judgment Day celebrated. There was a moment where Liv Morgan did do a crossbody and she landed on Raquel. So maybe at some point, Raquel's going to turn on her. There's going to be some shit, like with the two of them. We'll have to wait and see. But like I said, I ain't had no problem with this. And I like Stephanie Valkyrie. Like, I ain't had no problem with this shit. But they said she lost. She lost. She'll get a rematch and we'll see what happens. But kudos to both ladies. And let's say we're moving on to the next one. But congratulations to Liv Morgan, the new Women's World Heavyweight Champion. I was the main person on the internet basically saying that Bianca, because everybody was like, oh, Bianca Belair is going to come back and save Rhea Ripley. And I was like, you freaking moron. The girl had finger surgery. She's not going to come back and get involved in a WrestleMania match and risk further injury. Like, I know we all love Bianca. I love Bianca. We all want to see Bianca. But I was saying this for like 3 months. She's not coming back to appear at WrestleMania, and then she appeared at WrestleMania. She showed up at WrestleMania. John Cena was in the ring, and then when John Cena was in the ring, like Bianca Belair showed up, and then Bianca announced to the world that the EST is having a baby. And I was like, aw, congratulations to Bianca, congratulations to Tez. Like I said, she ain't coming back no time soon, so she ain't gonna be back till WrestleMania 43 because she looked like she's maybe like 3 months pregnant now. Like, she looked like, and I said that too. Like when she broke her finger last year, I said after she had this, well, she was trying to let it heal on its own. And they said that the doctors were like, it's going to take a while, for the finger to properly heal. I said, if she has to get finger surgery, if her and Montez Ford want to have children, now's the time. Because the moment you have finger surgery, you ain't coming back no time soon anyway. So you might as well take those 9 months and have a baby. They took my unsolicited virtual advice and they're having a baby. And I'm happy. I'm happy for them. So, I mean, Bianca's, like an athletic beast, so she's coming back. Like, she's going to come back. Naomi's going to come back. Like, everybody going to come back. Like, Jade Cargill has a child, and look at Jade's body, for Christ's sake. So, she's going to give birth. Like I said, she's going to give birth probably in, like, September, or, like, September, October. And then after that, maybe she'll come back at the Royal Rumble, but we'll see. But, I said, kudos to her. I'm happy for the EST, and I can't wait to see the progression and how they incorporate Naomi's baby and Bianca's baby in future storylines going forward. And the final match of the night was the WWE Heavyweight Championship match, the main event of Night 1, Randall Orton versus Cody Rhodes. And yes, I'm in the camp of everybody else where Pat McAfee wasn't needed. Jelly Roll wasn't needed. But we got what we got. So we're just going to have to accept it. And I feel like Pat McAfee was the reason why Orton did not win the championship. There was a moment where Jelly Roll did get involved. Like, he did a crossbody onto Pat McAfee. Cody Rhodes hit Pat McAfee with a crossroads in the beginning, which took Pat out of the match. And then we got back to a straight up one-on-one between the two of them, which got battered and bloody. I don't know where Cody fucked his eye up. Like, at the end of the match, like, the doctors were trying to open his left eye. So I guess he got potatoed, or he took like a bad shot to the face and it made his eye swell up. Cody Rhodes' entrance was really cool because they had the different outfits that he wore throughout his career. They couldn't show the AEW one because they don't got the footage, but they showed the Stardust, and then they showed the dashing and the American Nightmare. They showed all that, so that was actually cool. Like, Cody got a good entrance, and I'll never understand the fans, how y'all sitting here, y'all out there booing Cody Rhodes, but then when y'all see him in person, you're singing his song and then begging this man for a photo and an autograph. Like, that's some shady ass shit. Like, and if I'm him, and if I see you booing me, I'm like, don't boo me and then ask for an autograph. And and it's sad because as a wrestling fandom, we don't really appreciate Cody Rhodes. Like, for what Cody Rhodes is given, it's just because this is one of those things where it's like, okay, we like somebody else now, so boo, you suck. And I'm like, that's not right. You know what I'm saying? Because Cody Rhodes is one of the few people that actually, like, legitimately cares about the people, and the people are the ones that are, like, turning and shitting on him. During this match, Pat McAfee came back, and there was a moment where Orton got poked in the eye, and he RKO'd the referee, and then he RKO'd Cody Rhodes. Cody went for the Cody Cutter, and he got RKO'd out of the Cody Cutter, and I was like, that was cool. Then Pat McAfee got back in the ring, and he caught an RKO from Randy Orton, and I'm not 100% sure if that was on purpose or not. I don't know if, because he got poked in the eye and because he was blind, he was just RKOing anybody that was in sight, or he was tired of Pat McAfee involving himself in the match and just said fuck it and just RKO'd Pat because he was sick of Pat being there. I don't know. This is actually kind of interesting. We'll have to see. We'll have to see what unfolds. But the surprise of the night, because of all that interference and all that hoopla, Randy Orton got hit with a crossroads, and Cody won the match. And I said, thank you, Jesus, because I was in the camp of, like, do I want Orton to get number 15? Sure, why not? At some point this year, he can get number 15. But for everything that Cody's given to the wrestling business, he deserved that WrestleMania victory. And then he even got his revenge for what happened last year with John Cena, because everybody got on Cody's case when John Cena like kicked him in the nuts or whatever, and Cody had a chance to hit him with the belt and Cody didn't hit him with the belt. Everybody was like, oh, Cody's a pussy and, you know, he needs to man up and he needs to get his hands dirty. He's too clean. He's too squeaky clean. Well, he kicked Orton in the nuts. So there you go. Like the man finally got dirty. He made up for his demons of last year's. He was just like, I ain't doing this shit. I ain't fucking around twice. Like, I ain't losing this shit twice. And I'm fucking happy. I mean, that probably means now that CM Punk gonna lose, but, you know, kudos to Cody Rhodes. Cody Rhodes. So Cody Rhodes is still the WWE Heavyweight Champion. And after he raised the belt up, Randy Orton punt kicked him. He hit him with the belt. Randy Orton hit Cody with the belt, and then he hit him with the punt kick. And I'm just like, was his eye fucked up on the punt kick? You know, is that what happened? But Cody looked pretty beat up. So I don't know. The celebrity involvement wasn't as bad. I mean, Pat McAfee's was, but Jelly Rolls, it was fine. Like, you got a little moment. You did something. I mean, Pat, you know, maybe was a little too much, but, you know, he got taken out early and then he got taken out at the end. So their involvement didn't hurt or help the situation. It still would have been the same situation it always was. But that's how the show ended, you know, with Cody Rhodes reigning supreme as he should. I'm very happy about that. I'm happy about how WrestleMania Night 1 turned out, because I enjoyed what I saw. Again, I do think Night 2 is going to be the better show because it has the better matches that I want to see on it. But Night 1 was definitely good, and I can't complain about it. Like, I'm not going to be on the internet basically like dragging the shit through the mud, but still watching it at the same time. Like, I don't hate watch shit. You know what I'm saying? If I like it, I like it. If I don't, I don't. I said, but this was good. So, you know, I give it a, like, you know how we do a yay, a nay, or an okay? I give it a very high okay. Like, I give it a very high okay. But share your questions, comments, and concerns down below about what you thought about WrestleMania 42 Night 1, and thank you for tuning in. So check me out, because again, we're going to post our Night 2 review of WrestleMania, you know, Saturday Night 2, well, Sunday Night 2. We'll see what happens, because I got my money. I'm betting on black because like all the black people are wrestling this weekend, so I got my money on black. Even the Demon, because he's black too. And I look forward to reviewing part 2 of WrestleMania with all of you. So that was it, guys. So thanks for tuning in. So until tomorrow, signing off for Night 1. Take care, and as always, we're out this bitch.